Dr. Calhoun Winton is a devoted literary scholar, researcher, and educator, and since 1997 has held the honored title of Professor Emeritus with the University of Maryland. His 43-year career spans many illustrious halls of higher learning and for his work as a biographer and play editor. After dedicating 22 years of his life to the University of Maryland, Dr. Winton has contributed to the further understanding of the English language and leaves large shoes to fill for future literary scholars. Born to George Peterson and Dorothy Winton in Fort Benning, Georgia in the Roaring '20s, Dr. Winton started life in a historic U.S. Army base established to train soldiers for World War I. When he came of age, he enlisted with the U.S. Navy, ultimately serving to the rank of captain from the year 1944 to the year 1967. In the last days of World War II, Dr. Winton studied at the Georgia Institute of Technology and the University of the South, earning a Bachelor of Arts degree in 1948. He went on to study with Vanderbilt University and Princeton University, working towards 2 Master of Arts degrees. Dr. Winton's aptitude for academia earned him a place with the doctoral program at Princeton University, and in 1955 he earned a PhD from the illustrious school. As a doctoral student, Dr. Winton taught with the prestigious Dartmouth College in Hanover, New Hampshire. In 1957, he went on to the University of Virginia, followed by a successful series of positions with the Graduate School at the University of Delaware. Dr. Winton briefly served as Assistant Dean of the school. He chaired the Literary Department of the University of South Carolina for 3 years, and in 1975, Dr. Winton was accepted as a professor of the University of Maryland. He served as director of the university's Research Center for Humanities, president of the university's Faculty Guild, and the director of the board with the Maryland Federation of Teachers. In the 90s, he was selected as a delegate for the Joint National Committee for Languages in Washington, D.C., representing the hundreds of thousands of language professionals in the United States. The group is still active today, working as a national forum for cooperation and discussion among teachers, translators, and scholars. Dr. Winton received the revered title of Professor Emeritus in 1997. Dr. Winton is also a celebrated scholar of 18th century playwrights, as evidenced by his collective creative works. In the 60s and 70s, he wrote 2 books on the Irish writer and politician Sir Richard Steele. Like Dr. Winton, Sir Steele was also a captain serving with King William's army. Sir Steele was an attorney and playwright in the 1700s and much celebrated in the early part of the century for the sentimental comedy The Conscious Lovers. Dr. Winton laments that much of Sir Steele's original papers were lost to a fire in his native Ireland. Dr. Winton's next subject of study was John Gay, who is credited with the first musical comedy ever written, The Beggar's Opera. In 1993, Dr. Winton released John Gay and the London Theatre. In addition to celebrating the life of a dedicated author, the book shed new light on the politics and culture of 18th century London. In 1981, Dr. Winton served as editor of the plays of Aaron Hill, the English dramatist and theater entrepreneur. Dr. Winton went on to contribute to the colonial book in the Atlantic World in 2000, the Oxford Dictionary of National Biography in 2004, and Agent of Change in 2007. In recent years, Dr. Winton has turned his attention to the study of United States history. He is counted among several scholars in Virginia and South Carolina who recently released papers on the topic of slavery in the South. Dr. Winton is proud to have been part of the desegregation efforts during his time with the University of South Carolina, which ensured a peaceful transition in that region. He recalls the eventual pushback in the area and said in an interview that luck was with us that time. Dr. Winton is currently writing about the popular history of the original explorers of America. Students of Dr. Winton may remember him as an avid book collector. He is the founder of the American Society of 18th Century Studies and a member of the Literary Society of Washington, the American Antiquarian Society, the Modern Language Association, and the East Central Society of 18th Century Studies. Dr. Winton supports his fellow scholars as a member of the Association of Princeton Graduate Alumni, the Princeton Club, and the Cosmos Club in Washington. Dr. Winton is paying forward the support he received as an academic, which has included a 1979 to 1980 Fulbright Commission lecture grant to visit Ankara in Turkey, a 1995 and 2003 John Carter Brown Library Fellowship, a 1970 Folger Shakespeare Library Fellowship, a 1965 to 1966 Guggenheim Foundation Fellowship, and a 1960 American Philosophical Society grant. Today, Dr. Winton takes comfort in his legacy of literary study, his collection of treasured volumes, and swimming. He has two sons, Jeffrey Hobart Winton and William Calhoun Winton.